Let's move on. Defensive player of the year, Bernie. Who do you got?
All right, this is the guy that puts down the clamps. This is the guy that gets a lot of people no buckets. There's no buckets on him.
Okay.
And I think this is going to be a repeat winner in Rudy Gobert.
Back-to-back years.
I think Rudy Gobert, after the first 3 games, I know this is probably going to be adding to like an overreaction type of thing, but Rudy Gobert's defense, the way that he's able to alter shots and the way that teams play the Utah Jazz is going to be a big factor as to why I think he'll win it again. The fact that teams are now shooting more deeper instead of more in. I mean, obviously, threes and layups is what a lot of teams are going for, but when you don't get the layups, it's a lot harder to beat this Utah Jazz team. And I think the way that he alters shots, the way that he can test jumpers, teams are going to have to shoot lights out in order to beat the Utah Jazz. And that's kind of what happened with the Golden State Warriors, except for that tip in from Jarekbo. But anyway, I think Rudy Gobert will win Defensive Player of the Year again.
Rudy Gobert is the favorite in my mind too, but I'm going to give you an alternate pick. I think it's going to be Giannis.
Giannis, okay.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to win the MVP this year, unlike most people. A lot of people would say he's going to win the MVP. We'll talk about that in a second. But I think he's going to end up getting Defensive Player of the Year. He's arguably one of the 3 best defenders in the league already. Mm-hmm. And if he just puts up insane stats, like I think he's already averaging like more than a block and a steal each game, which is pretty impressive. He's just gonna dominate defensively all season. There's really nobody in the Eastern Conference that can match up to him. Like LeBron could still probably torch Giannis, but really, like, other than that, there's really nobody in the East that he can't guard. I think that's your guy.
That's the guy.
MVP, Bernie.
MVP. Well, let's do some most improved player.
Most improved player. I forgot about this one. I like it.
Who do you think is going to be the most improved player for the 2018-2019 NBA
most
season?
Improved. Who won last year? It was somebody good, wasn't it?
Victor Oladipo.
Oladipo. So I think like this is one they like to give to players who are like really good. Like
yeah, but I mean,
good players who took another leap forward, right?
Yeah, but I had that for Giannis and he didn't win it. Like
I could see Oladipo by the end of the season was pretty clearly in the 3 most improved. You know who I think it's going to be this season? I think it's going to be Jokic. We were talking about him a second ago. Yeah. He's already been good. He had like the 3rd most triple doubles in the league last year, which doesn't mean he's good, but it is impressive for a big
center,
guy.
Yeah.
His biggest problem for his entire career is defense.
Yeah.
And in the 3 games they've played so far, he's actually looked pretty okay on defense. Mm-hmm. And if he can continue the trajectory of defensive improvement that he has shown thus far, I think he's going to be my pick, because that, like, him being good on defense is the equivalent for me of last season, Andre Drummond being able to shoot free throws.
Yeah. Like,
Jokic was the ultimate liability defensively for a team. Almost Enes Kanter levels of inadequacies on defense. Yeah. So if he can be a decent defender as well as put up 25 points and almost 10 assists a game, I mean, those are basically MVP numbers, but he's not going to win that. So I think you could put him in most improved.
That's a great shout. I think for my most improved player, I'm going to go with Andrew Wiggins. I'm joking. I'm not picking
you got me. I thought you were for real.
No, I'm not picking Andrew Wiggins. That guy's trash. Anyway, my real most improved player is going to be a player that's on my favorite team, and that's, of course, Jason Tatum.
Oh, man, that's a really good pick, too.
I think Jason Tatum, I mean, all these are good picks. I think Jokic actually has a really good, decent chance. The problem with this award, though, in my opinion, is that I feel like it's not going to go to, like, the top echelon type of players. It's going to go to, like, the Oladipos who are, like, in the middle, but, like, are ready to go up to that next level. But I think Jason Tatum's numbers kind of say that he was, like, at this level. Obviously, regular season numbers, but postseason it was a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
But I think Jason Tatum takes a step up, and I think we talked about this during the break, or not really the break, but off camera.
Mm-hmm.
Jason Tatum, I feel like, could be a guy to where he's going to be the superstar for the Boston Celtics.
In my opinion, he already is, and I think he will be.
Because, last season it was all about, Gordon Hayward, Kyrie Irving, how is this all going to fit together? And you got Jason Tatum, who's a nice rookie. We don't know anything about him, but, he was a nice rookie. But last season, he proved to be the guy after, some unfortunate injuries that happened to both those two guys earlier that I talked about. Jason Tatum, to me, will be a guy that I think will try to average, 18 to 20 points per game. Hopefully get, 5 to 6 assists and maybe, 5 to 6 rebounds. Just like a solid stat line for a guy that was averaging 13 last season. I think that he has that ceiling to go even higher and become that superstar player and kind of be the equivalent of a Kobe Bryant for the Boston Celtics. I know that's sacrilegious for me to say for the Lakers and all that stuff, but he just kind of gives me that vibe of like a young Kobe.
I love that pick. And I'm going to admit this on camera. This is going to be the only time you ever hear me say this. I'm so jealous of the Boston Celtics for the Jason Tatum pick. It's perfect. They traded down and got Jason Tatum. He's the best player in the draft last year. Sorry, Donovan Mitchell. Sorry, Rookie of the Year, Ben Simmons. Jason Tatum's the best player in the draft. Most improved. Let's move on to MVP, though, bro.
MVP, this is the big one.
Jason Tatum, MVP. No.
Jason Tatum.
My pick for MVP, you got a couple front runners, obviously. You got Giannis, you got LeBron, Anthony Davis. Mm-hmm. I think my favorite pick is Anthony Davis. I think he's already come out and said he's basically going to be on the warpath for the MVP and to make his team good this year. And if he's putting up 32 points in 15 boards or something
he's putting up
ridiculous, which the numbers he was averaging for the last 3 months of last season were absolutely superhuman numbers, and he's already off to the same start. And if he can continue that, I mean, there's no question in my mind that if they win the 3rd seed in the West or even the 4th, that he's going to be the MVP.
Right.
But I'm going to go with a sleeper pick. I think the East is an easier conference. Therefore, it's easier to get the 1 seed, 60 wins, somewhere in there. Kawhi Leonard is my guy.
Kawhi Leonard, okay.
I think he was so close for a couple seasons in the top 3, 2 straight years. It's his year. The Toronto Raptors have looked really, really good in their first 3 games. They're 3-0. Defensively, he's the Kawhi of old, just absolutely locked down. And with the supporting cast that he has, it's arguably better than some of the Spurs teams he played on.
Yeah.
Maybe not in the early years where he had Tim Duncan, but really their team is great and it's built for him to have an incredible year. Kawhi Leonard is my pick.
I mean, that's a good shout. We talked about this off camera. I know this was a knee-jerk reaction or overreaction. The Raptors are actually, they might even be better without DeMar DeRozan. I mean, obviously, DeRozan to Kawhi, obviously there's going to be a huge skill gap difference. But I think the reason why we thought that is just because Kawhi took a year off. We don't know where he's going to be at. But that's a good shout. I think that's another one that could be awesome. But I think I'm going to have to go with your favorite, and that's Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis is on a mission right now. He was a guy that, when we watched the playoffs, we're like, okay, this guy could probably be MVP. And this is why I talked about in the beginning of this video, why I hate the award show being at the end of the postseason when we see everything.
Yeah.
Because it takes away from the regular season. I know this is kind of I won't compare it to a fast food type of game, but it sort of is because there's a lot of games being played.
Definitely. And
we only remember the recent ones. And James Harden, during that Western Conference, there was an APB out for him.
Yeah.
He was on the milk carton. I mean, we were looking for him and his game. It was just not there, non-existent.
I agree.
But Anthony Davis, I feel like, really stepped up, really shined. And I think this season he's going to prove to everyone why he deserves the MVP by putting up the ridiculous numbers and also helping this team potentially get up to top 4 in the Western Conference, which is very hard to do when you got guys like the Golden State Warriors. You got LeBron James in LA. You got the Houston Rockets, even though we're a little bit down on them, but they still won the most games in the franchise history. So
yeah, I think the one thing, and we talk about this a lot in these videos, just because it is so important to mention, is Anthony Davis's MVP season can drastically change if he gets traded.
Right.
Which there's a good chance of him getting traded. So we can't ignore it.
Mm-hmm.
So he's the MVP favorite on the Pelicans for me. If he goes anywhere else, there's no way he wins.
No, I mean, the only way would be to another team similar to the Pelicans. But I mean, are they really going to trade for that? Are they going to have that trade possible? No, probably not.
Yeah.
But like I said, Anthony Davis, MVP.
I think on the Pelicans, if he stays the whole season, he's going to win. Mm-hmm. I think that's your best bet. Anyway, guys, let us know your winners for all these awards. If you think we're way off the mark on some of these guys, let us know. Anyway, catch us in the comments. We love you. This has been your boy Pete. That's Bernie. Peace.
Peace.